Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to not let other people affect us, how to not let other people essentially trigger us, and how to not let other people and their actions affect our emotions and behaviors. So it is a true fact that people will engage us into feeling things. And when that engagement of feeling things is that of disappointment, discouragement, sadness, reflection of like unmet needs, frustration, anger, sadness, feelings of inadequacy or like not being good enough, not feeling special, not feeling supported. Like there's so many ways that people can make us feel. And I was listening to something from Tony Robbins today, who is a motivational speaker, for those of you that do not know who he is. And his clip today was all about the so-called triggers. And he was talking about this notion that it's not that other people make you feel things, because even counselors will always say that the feelings that you're feeling are yours. They're not given to you by that person. That person and their actions or words or whatever it might be, or sometimes even inaction, right? Like if you're being ghosted or someone is not talking to you, following up with you, following through with you, what are you going to feel? You're going to feel certain things. You're going to feel that maybe you're not good enough, or maybe you're going to feel that you're not going to feel special, or you're not going to feel worthy, or you're just going to feel a certain type of way that's not comfortable. So what Tony Robbins was trying to say, and my video was going to be all about, from what I've understood through becoming a clinical counselor, is that the feelings that other people trigger or ignite from within us are already existing from before. That's why one specific circumstance can have various different impacts on different people, because each person is going to have a different lens of perception that they interpret life's circumstances through, that are not equal to somebody else's. I found with me that the more I healed my unhelpful core beliefs that were saying something like, you're not lovable, you're not worthy, you're bound to be rejected, you're bound to be alone, the more I healed those through narrative therapy, through cognitive behavioral therapy, through my affirmations, through my meditation, through healing my anxious attachment style, through doing all these things and creating new neurological pathways, releasing new information, such as I am lovable, I am worthy, I am wanted, I am special, I am accepted. Now I am viewing life and people and their actions and inactions through a different lens. Therefore, I am relating to that experience in a completely different way now. So in a sense, whatever used to bother me before was actually a catalyst to what needed to be healed from within me. Because like Tony Robbins was saying, the trigger that somebody else is igniting from within you, he didn't say ignite, I can't remember what the word he was using was, but it was something along those lines. That is what he was trying to say, is that is already living from within you, and that person is simply allowing you to feel that. And now we have two choices. We can either stuff it down and not look at it, and then we're going to be the chances that we're going to have to experience that trigger again through another person, another circumstance, another situation is going to be highly likely, because if we don't deal and heal that trigger, the chances that it will come back and resurface to be looked at is going to be highly likely. So, for example, if you don't feel like you're special enough, or you don't feel like you belong, or you're wanted and fully accepted exactly for who you are, you're going to perceive things and or situations through that lens. And if, for example, a friend bails, or a potential lover bails on a date or a hangout, that situation is going to be interpreted through those lenses of a core belief that I am unwanted, I'm not accepted, and you're probably going to feel not very good, because you're going to feel like they don't want to hang out with you, they're avoiding you, and then that might lead you to feel sad and go into like hiding and not put yourself out there again, maybe withdraw from work, or I don't know, eat too many bags of chips, like self-sorrow, all these things. Or you can perceive that situation as, okay, that person might be busy, or even if they say they chose to do something else instead, if you have positive core beliefs about yourself, it's going to be perceived differently. It's going to be not brushed off, but experienced in a way that's just, there's nothing there to trigger. Like if you feel that you are wanted, you are accepted, you are all these things, then it's not triggering anything, right? So you're going to experience it as a person who feels wanted and loved and enough and special. So it's going to be neutral. Like there's nothing there to trigger. So this is what happens to me now when I experience a person, quote unquote, mistreating me, or we all do things. Like I was driving somewhere to go meet a friend, and 10 minutes before our meeting, they were like, can we meet like an hour later? Well, that didn't work for me. So I had two choices. I could be super duper upset, or I could take that as an opportunity to, I don't know, perhaps do something else. The more secure I am in myself and my core beliefs, knowing that I am wanted, I am attractive, I am cared for, I am cherished, all these things, then I'm not perceiving that experience from a negative way. There's nothing there for it to make me feel so, but like say maybe 5 years ago, I would have felt disappointed, unloved, uncared for, and then I would have this narrative that would run in my head like, see, like nothing in my life works out for me. What the hell is wrong with my friend? What's like, why is this happening to me? That's so shitty. And I would let the feelings that were alive within me, harvested in there from my childhood, come up from simply a friend. For whatever reason, they were tired, they wanted to take a nap, they thought that was a great idea. But how nice is it if we don't let those situations tether us, essentially? And if they do tether us, is to look into what it is trying to say to us, and then work on changing that. So then, and the next time that may come about, whether a date cancels or a friend cancels, or even a job opportunity cancels, like I've had that happen before. Contracts fall apart all the time. The meaning that you give to that experience is going to be the gem in what happens after. If I give the experience a neutral meaning, I'm going to be able to move on to the next phase of my life in a much more peaceful and high vibrational way, and allowing the road in front of me to be open for more peaceful and high vibrational things to come in. But if I give it a meaning that is negative, like I'm not good enough, or it must be me, and then allow myself to feel sad and sorry for myself, and then be mad at my friend, or be mad at the situation, be mad at the job, and not look at the greater picture of what it is that it was showing me, like, why is that trigger, whoa, sorry about that, why is that trigger there in the first place? Then I'm not allowing the path of least resistance to be present, and I'm not allowing myself to do the work that the so-called trigger from the other person is trying to show me in the first place. And this is how you take your power back as well, like from living life. So the power doesn't lie into how people make you feel. The power lies in what you do with the feelings that somebody else's actions are igniting from within you, that are already living in your body. What are you doing with those feelings? Are you going to stuff them down, or are you going to allow them to come up and journal about them and see what voice do they have? What's the secondary emotion behind these feelings? What grief lies behind that? We were talking in class today a lot about grief and sadness, and how many times in our actions and or reactions, there's a sort of sadness and grief that lies with those core beliefs. So say if you were stood up on a date and sorry, I got cut off there for a second. So I was saying, say that you find yourself going on a date, and say that date doesn't work out. And then if you have core beliefs and a narrative that you're not worthy of love, you're bound to be rejected, you're not enough, and if you don't feel enough, if you don't feel these things, you're going to interpret that situation through those lenses of perception. So this is the whole basis of cognitive behavioral therapy, is how do we cognitively, like with our thoughts, interpret our life that leads to our behaviors. And if the narrative is like that, say after you get stood up on a date, then that's a clear sign that there's work need to be done from within you to bring your core beliefs up to par, to reflect things like I am lovable, I am cherished, I'm wanted, I'm chosen, I'm always chosen. And if that situation comes about then the next time, then instead of you feeling sorry for yourself or feeling like you're not good enough, you're just gonna basically be able to just toss it in the books and just be like, okay, like that was just not meant to be for me, because again, you're not gonna have an emotional attachment to it that is negative. It's just gonna be like a neutral attachment. And when you do your work and you become all the positive core beliefs, then you have this unwavering belief that you deserve more than that, like perhaps a phone call or an explanation, or even if, like in the scenario that I was saying before, even if they do give you an explanation that says like I was tired and I fell asleep, like you're just going to give meaning to everything in a different way. So embrace the triggers, embrace the uncomfortable feelings that other people and or situations basically ignite from within you, and work on alleviating them as opposed to giving them meaning. And that's why the book, The Four Agreements, is so fantastical, because it reminds us all to not, rule number one, do not take anything personally. Rule number two, do not assume anything, because when we take things personally and assume things, those assumptions are always being taken from the core beliefs that we acquired as children and the narrative that we also acquired as children. So the next time, that you find yourself in that situation, jot it down, like see what is it making you feel? What is this experience making you feel? Where is the sadness coming from? Where's the grief? And going back to my original point about feeling grief and sadness being like somewhat the predominant emotions behind those thoughts, even as, say, you are like the date experience that your date does not show up and they cancel the date last minute. Many times the sadness and grief of that experience of not feeling wanted, not feeling good enough, that person not showing up and not giving you that perhaps love and affection and connection that you were so looking forward to having, grieving the opportunity of not having that experience, reflecting all the pain and sorrow and sadness that exists from inside of us from our childhood or events in our adolescence, and so forth and so forth. Every book, Attached, The Untethered Soul, Brainstorm, How to Do the Work, More Love, Less Conflict, The Magic, like Changing for Good, all these books reflect back to the same idea that the programming that we have acquired through our childhood and early adolescence life is very much alive, and maybe many times we're not conscious of it and how it unfolds in our daily life and influences our interactions with life itself, unless we experience or give the time to ourselves to uncover why do those feelings exist? Why are these people making us feel this way? Where is this coming from? What sadness? What is grieving behind there? Is it perhaps a lifetime of criticism? Like, say, for example, with my partner, when he feels disrespected or criticized by me, I'm actually not meaning to do that, but the lenses of perception that he has acquired from his childhood due to, say, criticism that he received, the world feels as if he's not doing or being enough. So no matter how I show up, that trigger is going to be there until he does his own work and like heals it and like really looks into why it's there in the first place. And they're the recreator, or like they have the power to recreate a completely different experience for themselves by giving themselves the complete opposite criticism, or the non-criticism that they are yearning for. So perhaps they have not heard enough in their lifetime to create neurological pathways that carry information that say like, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're good enough, you're powerful. There was no knowledge back then from our parents to give us anything other than criticism, because that's what they knew from their parents, and so forth and so forth. Therefore, when life is perceived from that lens of perception, that's actually not my fault, right? Like, I'm just a messenger of what's living inside of there and what would help that person the most in that given moment in time, which also gives him the power back to himself, and not being like, oh, Anna is making me feel this way. It's like, okay, why is Anna making me feel this way? Why is that feeling still alive in me? Where did it come from? I was having a discussion with a classmate today that we're talking about going to an event, and they're so worried that people are going to think that they're weird. And my curiosity is, why does that lens of perception exist there in the first place? Like, where did you learn that? When did you first feel that you are weird? And then reminding them again that if they go to this event and they sit at that table and their narrative is, I'm such a weirdo, no one want to talk to me, people are going to be like, why are you here? They're going to perceive and experience, they're going to experience the other people through that lens that they're weird. Like it makes no other sense. Like that's just the logical, that's just like what's going to happen, right? But if you go in there thinking that everything's okay and that you're fine and you're welcomed and you're a very liked person, you're an interesting person, then the experience of the other people through those lenses is going to be exactly that. Like, it's that simple, but it's not simple because these core beliefs are like really, really, really deep rooted inside of us. So then those would be my two curiosities. To be like, first of all, are you aware of the fact that, like, if you keep thinking and feeling that you're weird, you're not giving an opportunity for anything else to be coming through from you sitting at that table. Like, that's your lens of perception. Like, you're gonna see that experience through, I am a weirdo. And then when did you start feeling that? And then there was like, it goes even deeper. Like, if someone says, oh, I don't feel normal. Well, what is normal? Again, when is the first time that you felt that way? Like, if your experience yesterday with someone allowed you to go back to that thought, oh, like I'm different. Actually, I'm different is not that bad, but yeah, I'm defective. Like, where did you first learn that? Why are you feeling that now in this experience? That is the way to, I guess, properly or in the most positive way to be with triggers and uncomfortable feelings that arise from our interactions with other people and or events. Thank you so much for tuning in with me for another episode. My name is Anna Morfidis. I'm so thankful, whether you're watching from YouTube, listening on the podcast, watching on the podcast. If you like anything about it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you feel called to it, please do so. This is a channel where I share information through my clinical counseling journey in living my best life, relaying that information so you as well can live your best life. Until next time.